Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And as always, I want to thank everybody for their support over at Patreon, where you could join the growing family over there as little as $1 a month. There are different tiers with different benefits, but we do invite you to go check out some exclusives over on Patreon.
Indeed.
And here you see, this is a tweet from 47 saying, a photo of beautiful water flow that I just opened up in California. Today, 1.6 billion gallons, and in 3 days, it'll be 5.2 billion gallons. Everybody should be happy about this long-fought victory. I only wish they listened to me 6 years ago. They would have been no fire. Do you realize, like, the series of events that we have had? I mean, if you really start documenting, writing down, and thinking about everything that we've seen go on, coincidences? You have, Newsom here deciding to slash $100 million from this year's fire prevention budget while directing $3 billion into free health care for people that come into the country using illegal means. Our taxes, again, it's just, you cannot make this up. A series of inexplicable events. When you look at barges that look to be aimed directly at supporting pylons and power going out, and people losing control of vehicles, start putting two and two together. The public is starting to, and yes, maybe the lack of fluoridation in the water will finally have some good effect with the cognitive abilities of the average person out there. If you're listening to this, chances are you've been well aware of fluoridated water and haven't drank any fluoridated water in years.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of changes going on.
Tons of changes, tons of questions too. This is another angle of the crash last night, which, again, I would say 9 out of 10 people that I see comment on this say, are you sure that was a plane? Are you sure that was a plane? Because, and when we were looking at some videos of Ukraine and over in the Middle East of missiles, and boy, did it look like a missile strike to me. It really, really did. As you see, we still don't know the scope as to how many people were lost on the ground. There definitely was loss of life on the ground as well. We do now have some more information. So the medevac plane crash victim ID'd as a young girl headed home to Mexico after life-saving treatment in the U.S. So the young patient who was on board the small medevac jet that crashed in a Philly neighborhood Friday evening was heading home to Mexico after receiving life-saving treatment in the U.S. The girl was one of 4 passengers, 2 crew members on board the Learjet. And when I heard Learjet, I think John Lear. John Lear did a lot with disclosure, saying again that the reality of extraterrestrials and their technology out there. That was just a connection that automatically came into my mind. It plummeted out of the sky shortly after 6 p.m. Eastern Time, less than a minute after taking off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport en route to Missouri Springfield Branson National Airport. The child was heading back to Tijuana with her mother, a doctor, paramedic, pilot, and co-pilot. Again, it's a tragedy that we see, and we've seen so many tragedies. All I can say is the patient was sponsored by a third-party charity to undergo life-saving treatment in the U.S. She did her course of care. She was going home. I would love to know who that third-party charity was. Absolutely. It feels that this, to me, just sharing my feelings, and this is a touchy subject because they demonetized the live last night. But thank you guys for the super chat that you did contributed, because we do still receive that even when they demonetize videos. This is touchy, this subject. And you could tell when the system is on guard, so to speak. It's just pretty obvious. So I would love to know who that third party was. And we pray for all the people involved and the families, as there's still a lot of chaos that's being sorted through. There is this, which really does sound exactly like they're printing out here. At 57 seconds into this is again air traffic control. Let's go back a little bit. Let's start right about here and listen.
Medevac Med Service 056, contact Philly departure 123.8.
123.8, Mike Tango Sierra 056 Medevac. Thank you, good day.
Medevac Med Service 056, Northeast Tower, contact Philly 123.8. Medevac Med Service Northeast Tower. Medevac Med Service 056, Northeast Tower, you on frequency?
Medevac Mike Tango Sierra 056, Northeast Tower, how do you hear this transmission?
Medevac Med Service 056, Northeast Tower.
Did you hear that in the background? Because it does sound like they're saying exactly that. And I replayed this at least half a dozen times.
Sounds like an exit.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that to me. Yeah, you're bleeping with the wrong people. This gets you feels like it's a hit of some sort. Certainly does. Again, a lot of people have talked about how fast the plane was traveling. Well, of course, you throttle it out to get up into the air and to get to your altitude. And yet it certainly felt more like this was an incoming rocket. This is another view here, so you can see it coming down. And what I noted, that right there, so is this just a light flashing on a wing? Is the proportions right? And I watched this several times coming down. So is that a light flashing on the wing? Flashes again right there, and then it seems like its position has changed, or there's some other light that seems to flash right before impact. See that there? So I have all the links for you guys. You see how that's there? Did the wing tumble in front at the last moment? I don't know. Something feels off here. I took some screenshots and adjusted the light to try to get it to seem clearer. And here you can see, is that in the proper position for the light on the wing? Maybe. And then here's at another spot. And then here where it flips again, everything gets too blurred to really make out. Was this a cartel hit? Just, saying that straight out there. Was this some sort of cartel hit? With everything that's going on right now, obviously the declaration of all-out war against the Mexican cartels, and literally the power structure saying that anything could happen, including armed intervention into Mexico. Could this have been a cartel hit? Or is that maybe what they want people that are curious to think, and maybe it's something totally different? Let's see, if you remove the X and put an F there, what would that spell? There's so much going on in this world. The Learjet here, you can see the wingspan's 43 feet, the length is 55 feet. These are not very, very large planes. Very, very curious. And here you can see Philadelphia plane crash had some interesting flights around Mexico and yesterday to Haiti. And it was not logged in that it was departing from Philly airport. This person is thinking that, exactly, that it's perhaps a cartel hit. Certainly, it sounded like they said there in the background, and it wasn't like it was the main air traffic control speaking. It's sort of like somebody on the same wavelength was maybe even putting it out there to see the public's impression, perhaps, of the event.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like somebody was definitely interjecting so that they know because they know that they will be heard. This is pretty concerning because the leadership or the controllers are starting to understand that they're up against something that is not very controllable, and I think there's a lot of fear going on. There's a lot of what is happening. There's a lot of, oh my gosh, So we're going through that part now when it comes to the leadership roles, and how far will they come to the understanding that, yeah, there's trouble ahead. And when people are messing with finances and money and shifting money around, that's not a very popular thing to do, even though the energy cannot be destroyed at all. It can be shifted and it can change hands, and that's what's been going on. But somebody doesn't like that, and somebody's going to make a point, and unfortunately it doesn't matter how innocent the victims. We have seen that, and that's the heartbreaking part, is like they're deliberately going after the most innocent beings to show how cold and how calculated this is. So that's the part that I don't like about it. That's just what's coming through my own head. It's nothing that I've seen on the news at all, so I'm just kind of talking about my feelings in it all. And it's a mess, and we really need to send our prayers and energy out to help quell this negative energy and get through, because we will get through it. It's a matter of, the light always wins, but there's this dark faction that we have to deal with to get past all this.
As you could see, more videos have emerged, and it really feels like this, this happening, this accident in D.C., for instance, it should so easily have been avoided. Why in the world did it happen unless, there was some sort of complete intent to make it happen? And then Alaska too. So you got to say, you got all these events happening that are trying to perhaps put a lot of fear into travel. And at the same time, we have WW3 that's been building, and now we have these trade wars that are getting testy even amongst quote unquote allies. I was looking because some people were talking about is there anything radiological? There's nothing showing any signs. Again, this is GMC map, and this is done through people that basically just average people like you and us, that would go and get a radiation detector and then download an app. So, this is nothing official. It's interesting because for a while there, it feels like this company was getting an awful lot of pressure, and then they actually literally wiped a whole bunch of data and wasn't even showing anything, which would have been a very negative thing for a company that's selling an app and selling radiation detectors. So again, these are individuals that are getting these readings. Over 200 CPM puts you in that dark burnt orange color. And that's something that's a cause for concern over periods of time. You see Cleveland here. Somebody in Cleveland's registering 223. When I looked around the U.S., there are some that are popping up. There was nothing actually over in Philly that was too high. This 118 over in New Jersey was the highest that I saw. As you see here, 128 over towards Charlotte. Over in Colorado, I've seen this number and this exact number pop up multiple times. So there's one person that seems to be getting this 666 Damien Omen 3 reading here. Hopefully that is not a legitimate reading. Maybe they're sticking it in their microwave. I don't know. See, that's the problem. We don't know what the person is really reading. 278 over south of Denver. A lot of these I've seen, these elevated ones, I've seen the same areas. Tucson has seen some elevation. San Diego and LA had as well. San Diego 140 over here. But really the most interesting ones, other than this Colorado one, were over in Europe, because it was showing quite a few, and these change all the time here. So you could see a 271 earlier when I was reading. I probably should have took a screenshot, because there was an elevated range of over 5,000, which was huge. 320 over here to the west of Krakow. But it just seemed, see, this has even changed since we were looking at this about a half hour ago. Some readings have dropped off. So, it does seem to be very live and very fluid. There was a reading over towards Germany that was up in the 5,260 or so range, and that seems to have dropped off. Just curious, again, for informational purposes and entertainment purposes only. And, here you go. I cannot believe some amateur astronomer got this exposed. Well, again, official sources are going to scrub things. This is the thing. Oh, that data doesn't come from an official source. Well, official sources are going to scrub what they don't want us to see. We have to rely on each other. We have to rely on the amateurs out there. Yeah, absolutely, for straight answers. As I look at some beautiful bluebirds enjoying the food I put out for them this morning. Saturn is very, very interesting. Saturn is like a control center for our solar system. Number one, what we've gotten is that there's actually 39 planets was what we had gotten before, and not what we're told. A lot of our solar system, our own solar system, is hidden from us. Why? Because then we would know that there's a lot of beings around us the whole time. And, in reality, there's a lot of free beings that are not in a system like we have been in. This dark matrix is not all that there is. No, quite the opposite.
I don't think we're very far from understanding that we can join a galactic force of beings that are closer to us than we think. But we do need to work through the ascension process. We do need that cleansing. We do need that understanding that how important it is to work with the planet, to work with nature. There's still this dark faction, and as I'm watching this, I see beings here that are coming in for some type of a meeting. They're coming in for some type of gathering, some type of decision making, and this has me very, very curious. So when I get a chance, I might try to drop in and see a little bit closer to try to see what exactly is going on here. But I feel a meeting. I feel something very important, possibly upcoming events. But I don't have any details other than that. A lot of times they can just shield it, and you can't see the details because you're not supposed to. But it doesn't hurt to try.
Absolutely. And we'll be sharing more with you guys, including over on Patreon. We're going to work on a whole series of instructional videos on how you can develop your let's say, extrasensory perceptions to a higher degree, which takes work. It takes work and dedication. You can't just simply take a pill or have a chip put in place to really achieve things that will lift you up higher in frequency. You have to work for it. And that's the bottom line. And they've cultivated this laziness in our society completely on purpose. It's not an accident. No. It's part of the societal conditioning. So, we have to rise above. We have to become the best we can possibly be to get to that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it might be, I don't know, a little sandwich, a little snack. I'm going to be making some baked ziti today. That's incredible.
Sounds yummy.
Absolutely. As always, guys, thanks for your support. We couldn't do it without you guys. We love you. Stay safe out there. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.